A warm welcome to you all. I'm glad you tuned in. As you can see, I'm in a great mood. Today we're going to watch a short clip together from Instagram, specifically from Zoki of SpeedEngineering. He picked up on my video about the Dr. Glossy cloth, or more generally the topic of microfiber cloth with polyester edging, and incorporated it into one of his humorous videos. Let's watch it together now. When I saw your video, I thought it was really cool because I'm familiar with those videos too. I haven't seen every single one, but I know his videos about car modifications, add-on parts and so on, and I actually enjoy watching them. There's some really funny things in there. It's always about components, about accessories for vehicles. But then I appeared in the videos, and that gave the whole thing a bit of a different vibe, because what they're trying to achieve here isn't just pure comedic entertainment. In this case, it's really directed against people, against opinions, against facts, and that's what we're going to take a look at together now. Let's get started.
What do petrol heads do to relax after work? Exactly. Clean the car.
Now I want to show you what kind of micro scratches a cloth like this can actually cause.
Huh, tell me more.
That's why I've never made a video about it for you, because
Why not? But now, at the latest, it's definitely time.
suddenly you end up with a ton of micro scratches. Of course, that makes me want to get right to the car.
Okay, me too. Yeah.
It's a tricky subject. These scratches don't just happen from improper use. And you can already see here,
Oh, that's how you do it, with 2 fingers on the edge. Okay,
polishing out bird droppings or something like that.
I need bird droppings. Guru. There was a big pigeon here at lunchtime. Come on, go poop.
Scratches form a perfectly circular shape in places.
Definitely circular.
Circular scratches have appeared.
Circular. I understand.
No major scratch formation at all. We can see clearly here now. So basically nothing is coming off.
Ha! I can do it.
Really shot the salmon. That was really intense.
What now? I can't take this anymore.
It's totally fine like this. You could also use cloths like this with an edge problem, but
I'm just going to do it now. Here we go. Whew. He was right. Ruined the whole paint.
well, Sebastian, bye guys.
Yeah, bye. What do petrol heads do to relax after work? Exactly. Clean the car.
Without the hint about which brand it was, I think most people wouldn't have even known what the video was about. That's why it's good to point out again who you're actually supporting here. Now I want to show you what kind of, let's say, micro scratches a cloth like this can cause.
Huh, tell me more.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. You just need to take a look below the video. I've linked the video on this topic for you there. There you'll find all the information, all the detailed explanations and clarifications from my side. So feel free to check it out, and all viewers are welcome to click on it so you can get the full information here. I've actually never made a video about them for you because...
Why not?
Yeah, that exact question is also answered in the video right at the beginning and again in the conclusion. So really you'd be fully informed if you watched the whole video and didn't just make fun of it. But here's the explanation again. Because in recent years, I haven't used a single cloth with that kind of edge. That's why I never made a video about it for you either, because for me that topic was dead and buried. But with this cloth, it immediately caught my attention on the surface when I wanted to test the color refresher from the detailer. I noticed, hey, you had polished the surface beautifully, almost scratch-free. There was really hardly anything left on it. And then you suddenly shined a light on it because of the color refresher to see the differences a bit. All of a sudden, you had a ton of micro scratches on it because I don't have any other cloth here with a polyester adjacents, in my opinion, that's basically extinct, or at least so rare that hardly anyone actually works with them anymore. That's why the cloth market with these kinds of edges is really almost non-existent anymore. I don't know of any cloth that still has such an edge and is also very, very popular.
But by now, it's definitely high time.
All of a sudden, you had a ton of micro scratches on it. Of course, I immediately want to use it on the car.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, it's a tricky topic. These scratches don't just happen from improper use. And as you can already see here...
Also, that's how you do it with 2 fingers on the edge. Okay.
Yeah, especially when you want to remove localized dirt, you tend to use the cloth a bit narrower. But here on the large surface, as you can see, the cloth is kept completely flat. And here it's nicely folded again, depending on the situation. There are also a lot of people out there who don't really pay attention to how they fold the cloth. And as a result, the edge sometimes comes into contact with the surface even more than usual. And it's really about the edge. You can also see here, that's where the micro scratches appear. Again, it doesn't matter how you place the edge on the cloth, whether it's along the entire side or here on the larger rubbing surface. It's completely irrelevant. I also showed that in the video. You can see it again here, not with 2 fingers, but with your whole flat hand. A large contact area. It's exactly the same problem. Of course, the video doesn't show it as if I'm constantly pressing the edge into the paint surface with my fingers on every surface. I assume that's what is meant by it. At least that's how I feel about it, but that's complete nonsense. If you actually watched the main video, you would have all the information about it. Polishing out bird droppings or something like that.
I need bird droppings, Guru. There was a big fat pigeon here at lunchtime. Come on, do your business.
Yeah, the poor pigeons aren't to blame for this satirical bit here, but I have to make it very clear. Even the ADAC has already written an article about this, and actually it comes up every year. The point is that in addition to the aggressive stomach acids in the bird droppings on your vehicle, which can also corrode the paint, the mineral deposits in the bird droppings, can easily cause really nasty scratches if you remove them the wrong way. And any cloth you use that isn't soft, that basically drags these tiny microstones, micrograins across the paint because they're very, very hard, especially around the edges, will just scratch your paint. You can see it here again. That's why you should use a soft cloth. And once more, pay attention to the sand grains or sand and dust particles that might be present. Anyone who has ever dealt with car care or cleaned a vehicle themselves knows this. The scratches sometimes even form perfectly circular patterns.
definitely circular.
Circular scratches have been made.
Circular. I understand.
Here's a good example of how you can simply leave out information to present something differently to the viewer. You can see here I just rubbed in nice circular motions. That means even with the cloth, these circular scratches are created, and that's the point. If you only work in straight lines, of course, you get straight scratches, but hardly anyone does that. Or at least I think most people will always work in these circular motions. That's why I showed it again here on the paint surface. Everything you see are original shots from the original video. As I said, it's linked again below, and that's how these swirls are created, as they're commonly called in English. There's no significant scratch formation. We see that clearly here, so nothing happens.
How can I hear?
Yes, you can definitely work with this cloth as long as you manage to keep the edge away from the surface. I also showed that in my video. Of course, that wasn't revealed to the viewers here either. And then I also showed the comparison of what happens if you let the edge touch the surface, which will happen in 99% of cases. Really shot the salmon there. It was pretty intense.
What now? I can't take this.
That's perfectly fine. Then you can also use cloths with such an edge without any problems.
I'm just going to do it now. Where do I go? He's right after all. Completely shot to pieces.
Yours, Sebastian. Ciao, everyone.
Yeah, ciao.
Well, everyone defines the topic of paint damage differently. I just see it as visual destruction of the paint when I have a bunch of these little micro scratches on the surface. If he or any of you out there say, for me that's not a problem, then it's not a problem for me either. Then you can use the cloth without any issues, or this type of cloth with these edges. Absolutely no problem. I really don't care. These are your vehicles. Everyone has different standards, but in our car care scene, it's just a fact. We simply don't want this kind of damage on the surface. If someone outside of this community sees it differently, that's totally fine. Whether you need to get so worked up about it is something everyone has to decide for themselves. So for me, at this point, it's truly a great honor to play a part among this elite group. Of course, not a positive role, because I don't belong to the select circle, nor do I want to. It's just a shame that justified criticism from my side is met with such a reaction. But that's just how it goes. That's how the social media system works. That's how YouTube works. That's how Instagram and TikTok work, and so on. That's always the point. You should at least have some knowledge about the topic, or simply say, hey, I'm not really familiar with this matter. If you think that's the case, then that's fine for you, because I would never criticize this business in any way. The logic behind it, the great added value for the buyers, despite the prices and so on, that just doesn't make sense to me at all. That is completely irrelevant to me. But of course, if you address it directly and, for example, leave out facts and present it to the viewers in such a way that my points of criticism are made to look partly ridiculous and it's all completely exaggerated, then that's another story. And if extra time is taken to make a separate video about it, then I have to say I'll also take the time and have made a little video for you, maybe to show some of you why I rated things the way I did, whether that makes sense to you, whether you can understand it or maybe not. That's your decision. But for me, it was simply an important point to clarify this again, because the way it's shown in that video, it's not about entertaining people or just having a bit of fun together and enjoying things as a group. Here, it's really about deliberately defaming someone simply because this product didn't get such a great review. And of course, you're somewhat indirectly involved, not necessarily in a business sense, but the connections are definitely very, very close. I think most people are already aware of this, but now you can just see how the whole thing works here. This is just everyday life. You have to be able to deal with it. I can always fall asleep very well at night because, of course, I show everything and I'm not giving you any feelings as a judgment. I'm not saying, for example, that the cloth is yellow. I don't think it's bad for the paint because it's yellow, but I also show you directly on the vehicle what I mean whenever I offer criticism here. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Many thanks here to Zoki for this super cool video, and we'll see each other next time. Maybe the next Böhmermann knockoffs will also appear here on his channel. Ciao, everyone.